If you are new to our channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. I'm Joy Baird. Springtime has arrived and it's time to do some figuring out what's going to be best for the garden here. A lot of the debris has been removed in the upper beds here. These 4 by 12 and 4 by 16 inch raised beds. Irrigation system was drained last fall and we're ready to figure out what we're going to do. Now I'm going to take weed fabric and use as much as I can where I can use it. Example, this bed here has garlic growing in it, so I can't do anything beyond halfway. But the reason why we are going to go with the weed fabric application is because I don't want to spend hours and hours weeding like we did last year. As you can see here, Holly and I spent a good portion last year on one particular Saturday afternoon. Spent several hours weeding and then it looked good, but not for long. So we're going to go with the weed barrier route. Now these beds here, it's already got grass growing in it. Not sure the way to go with that. This bed here is a little low. This pallet bed that we made 4 years ago is just about used up. So I will just, at some point, I'm going to take the soil out of that and put half in this bed and the other half in that bed. And then dispose of the remaining pieces of this raised bed. So we're going to start on the easiest stuff, I guess, and see how much we can knock out. And then I've got these raised beds from rootmaker.com that I will need to work on. All of this that you see here is all in irrigation from dripworks.com. So that is very beneficial. The only bed that's not is this one here, our asparagus bed. We had 2 raised beds back here that are no longer. That is the framework of one. And the soil, some of this compost here is still good. I've just got to dig it out and take it somewhere else. Raspberry, or golden raspberries here are popping up, so that's good. They did get hit by the rabbits over the winter, but not a big concern. So that is the project for today. And then I'm going to see what I can get planted. And once I get the weed fabric down and secure, then we'll go from there. Ooh, very windy day today. So we've got the irrigation system here. And I'm going to put the weed fabric on top of the irrigation system. True enough, this is going to absorb heat, but we will add chemical-free, seed-free grass clippings and mulch on top of this weed fabric once the plants are established. So this way will greatly reduce the weeds in which we have to remove, which would be around where the plants are, the holes are cut out for the plants. The link for the weed fabric is in the show notes below. We do have an affiliate program through Amazon. Doesn't cost you anything extra. It just gives us a little kickback when you purchase things that you normally would purchase. We've got a lot of things on our affiliate list, so just keep that in mind. It is a windy day, so I'm going to see how well this is going to work and how best to secure this to the ground. These should be 4 foot wide, I think is what this is. And we'll go until we run out of weed fabric too. This was for a project, a different project, and I'm going to utilize what we have here. that was going to happen. I do have a lot of these extra hoops or pins that I got with the irrigation system. So that is we're going to utilize if I can puncture through. There we go. Okay, so I had enough to do one 4x12 and then this, I'd say it's 4 foot wide by 6 foot long bed, even though it's 12 foot. Have garlic, as I spoke earlier about it. And that's all the weed fabric I have, except for enough to do this little 2 foot by 4 foot bed. Now, before I do that, I'm going to take the garden fork and a wheelbarrow and dig most of that out and get all the trash out of there, and then lay that weed fabric down. And this is not an irrigated bed, nor is that one, but if I can start working through these beds here a little at a time, then it will look a lot nicer and more controlled in what we decide to grow. So that's the next job. Okay, got this bed cleaned out, and then I had a little planter right there that I went ahead and dumped in there, half weeds, half soil. So I'm going to put this back on the compost pile, put that weed barrier there, and figure out what's the best thing to plant. I think I'm going to go Swiss chard and spinach and some romaine lettuce if I have it in the seed box, because that'll hold the moisture in, that weed fabric, and make another step of completion here in the garden today. Okay, another 4x4 raised bed there, pop-up bed from rootmaker.com. Went ahead and weeded that. Got that all done. I don't have any weed fabric, but I will plant peas in this bed. I'll get another baby crib back. I think I've got one in the storage shed there, and plant peas along that side there to have them something crawl up. And then I'll plant some other cool weather crops there, plant some cool weather crops here. I will dump those 2 containers out to put more soil in there because they're not serving any purpose sitting there and growing weeds. So I will do that. And just one of them days of grunt work, got to get done. And I know that that will have some weeds in it, but not nearly the magnitude of weeds that would be like on the ground here. This is the way the garden used to be. It's got Creeping Charlie. We had, and you can see in our earlier videos, we had 24 distinct growing beds, 2 to 3 foot wide, with a 1 to 2 foot walk path between them. And it was just unbearable to keep up with the maintenance of that. I would spend 40 hours prior to the season working each bed thoroughly, removing the weeds. And a month later, you couldn't tell I did a thing. So we reduced our 1,800 square foot garden to about 600-ish, 650, and we are producing the same amount of produce out of this smaller raised bed garden than we did in the traditional ground garden. So something to look, it was an investment now. We did this 4 years ago, it was an investment, but it has greatly reduced the amount of work we've had to do, increased or kept steady the volume of produce, and created a lot less work. You're not having to work each bed, and it's like, oh, where do I stop? That type of thing. So psychologically, if you want to go that route, okay, I got that bed done, I don't have to do anything here because there's nothing here. Those beds are fairly done until I get weed fabric on them. That area there is Jerusalem artichokes. So I don't have time, nor do I want to spend 8 hours on a Saturday or 40 hours in a week coming in and weeding this bed or weeding the garden to in 2 to 3 weeks or a month and a half have to do it again and again and again. You know, you got to keep that in mind. Okay, so that's where we're at. I will get these emptied out here. Clean them out first and then dump the soil in there and level it off. Get the other trellis up there, or baby crib bottom frame, which works really good for peas and cucumbers. And that will be the next move. So I've got this bed completely cleaned. I was going to do peas over here, but a couple of years ago I threw some jelly melons in this bed and it worked really good. They grew up and did really well on this bed. And the difficulty with peas is if they have something to grab onto right away, they're going to flop over. And between the baby crib and the edge, it's like 2.5, 3 inches. So I don't want to have that issue. So what I've done is I took another baby crib base and nestled it in the ground and tied it off to this post here. And I can plant peas on both sides. Peas are a crop you can get in early and they take about 70 days. And you want to, I prefer to put them in the ground when the temperature is at least 40 degrees at soil temperature and steady. In the next 10 days, we have some opportunity to where it's going to get down to about 35, but I don't think it's going to hurt anything. But I'm going to plant them about 1.5 inches deep. You can pre-soak your peas. The problem with that is you need to know precisely how many peas you're going to soak to plant, so you don't have a whole bunch left over that is going to be no good because you're soaking them. Okay, I got this bed planted. Peas there, two rows of radishes, and 2 rows of romaine lettuce, green and burgundy. We find that the burgundy doesn't go to bolt as quickly as the green does. Here, this is how I'm doing the weed fabric. May be different for you. I will secure the strips down, but I'm going to plant beets and then half Swiss chard, and then as it comes up, we'll just make sure, because it'll grow light. We may have to modify that, but I will lay rocks down on that. As you can see it blowing there. But that's the way I'm going to do that. Right or wrong, that's how I'm doing it, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I did the whole bed in beets. That's be more beneficial to us than half Swiss chard, half beets. So we'll let them germinate 7 to 14 days, see how they're doing, see with this weed barrier how we're going to have to modify it. Like, will they come through with the wind blowing and all this other stuff? So learning process for us with weed barrier. And it is beginning to rain. Got some cool weather crops planted, so we're going to call that good for the day. Thanks for watching. This has been the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. Be sure you like, subscribe, and comment. I'm Joy Baird, and we'll see you next time.